Good morning. Good morning. Happy Saturday. We are on day 20. That means you're going to get me post gym in my white hat, the iconic white hat. I wear this everywhere. I love this thing. Anyways, we are excited to be here, and I'm excited to be here and be able to dive into another aspect of stewardship. And today we're talking about stewarding your community. Now, type community in the comments, whether you're watching live, watching the replay. Type community, the word community in the comments if you have community, if you're involved in a community. Maybe that's church, maybe that's, a couple friends, maybe that's a mentorship community. You name it. Like there are communities everywhere. And one of the things that I know post pandemic is that so many people are starving for community. It's crazy to even think about and even hear about. So many people out there are just feeling so hopeless. And then when we feel hopeless, what happens? We tend to retreat. We tend to hide and kind of fold into our own selves because it just feels bleak. It feels dark. It feels hopeless. It feels like there's not much to live for, right? And that's exactly the design of the enemy. There's not much to live for. It's hopeless. It's dark. It's getting worse out there. Now we know, scripturally, we know it's going to get worse before it gets better. Like we just know that. We always know. And I always remember this phrase, it's always darkest before the dawn. Like you have to understand that goes in tandem with each other. But when it comes to being hopeless, like so many of us that I have heard that feel that way, most people aren't plugged in community. So type community in the chat if you are plugged in some kind of a community. And what kind of community are you plugged into? Is it like a small group? Is it just a small group of friends? Is it a church group? Is it a mentorship community, a business community? You name it. Like what kind of community are you plugged into? Community matters. And I want to talk about stewarding that community. Now, in my life, there are multiple communities that I'm a part of. I have a small group church community. I have our mentorship community inside Kingdom Alliance. I have community with my own inner circle of friends, a community with family members. Like there's different pieces of community that all serve a different purpose. Let's talk about the family community. Like family's there for you. Most families, I should say, are there for you. They want what's best for you. They want to love you. They want to spend time with you, right? Like stewarding that, being able to create the time. We always say, oh, we don't have the time. We don't have the time. My husband and I used to say that all the time for his dad that he rekindled a relationship with right when we started dating or maybe before we started dating, because they live on the other side of Los Angeles, which feels like a long ways away, which really could be like 2 hours. But we were like, oh, we don't have time. We don't have time. And then, unfortunately, his dad suffered some health challenges. And we're like, okay, we cannot say we don't have time anymore. We get to make time. Because when we were visiting him in the hospital after these health scares that he had, it was, okay, what are we doing all of this for? We have to steward that community and spend time with those family members. We get to. It's not a have to, it's a get to. So stewarding community when it comes to family, making time, whether it's once a month, once a quarter. I don't know how you want to operate with your family, once a week, but pouring into that because family matters. Now, pouring into friends, right? Or friends pouring into you, having that type of a community. We can always say we don't have time. Maybe we're in a season where we have little kids. We're in a very busy season of building a business. We're just always busy, right? That 4-letter curse word that I absolutely loathe, like busy. I get it. Like things eat up our time, but we prioritize what we want to make time for. And you can always make time to be able to go connect with other people. Grab a coffee, grab lunch, go on a walk, go do something. One of the communities I love being a part of is my girl, shout out Giselle. She put something together. I want to say it's been over a year now, called the Holy Girl Walk. So in Orange County, we'll go meet at one of the coast towns in Orange County, and we'll go walk for an hour. And the beginning of that is like a word and a sponsor from a business person. And then we go walk and we just get to network and connect with each other. And she does that. And so stewarding community of women who are typically entrepreneurs or women that want to connect with other women that love the Lord, just come together, all different backgrounds. Like that's an amazing community that she's created. So like creating that time for friends is important because it's a cup filler. It's not like is there an ROI to this thing? I'm a human being. I need to have other interactions with other human beings. Myself being an entrepreneur, so often it can just be like a business transaction of like, oh, is there business happening here? Is this happening here? Is an ROI happening here? Sometimes you just need to have community. And so making the time to do that. One of the things that I used to feel really guilty for another community that I'm a part of is my small group for church. Every other Wednesday, we meet for like 2 hours. This small group is almost an hour away from where I live. It's about 45 minutes. And so it's 45 minutes there, 2 hours, 45 minutes back. And so I have to take off a good chunk of the day in the middle of the week. And I used to feel guilty for that. But every time I'm sitting in that circle with those women, I get so filled. And there's no ROI business wise, nothing. I'm getting my cup filled by other people and I get to fill other people's cup. So like having a community where you can really, especially when it comes to something that is, Bible related, Jesus related, to really dive in deep to learn and grow together, literally being the church outside of the church four walls, that's important to me. And I used to feel guilty of like, oh, this is, it's not producing anything. And I'm just like, stop. Not everything has to be like an ROI, but there actually is an ROI because it's investing into me, which then pours out everywhere else. So that's a community where you get to make time. Your inner circle, the people that you really, really value and trust with like your deepest, darkest, like you can get really raw with these people and expect rawness in return and them to speak into you and just be real with you, not telling you the things necessarily you want to hear, but the things you need to hear. Creating time for that, for people to hold you accountable, to speak into you, to see the raw parts of you, to call you out on things you need to be called out on, to help you become aware of things that you need to become aware of. We get to make time stewarding that inner circle community that we have. And then recap the communities if you're just coming on. So family, friends, like a church or a small group, some type of that community, your inner circle. And then lastly, and I saved this for last because a lot of people who follow me, like it's always business, entrepreneurship. I get it. I'm obsessed with it too. A mentorship community or a business community or something that you're a part of to get fed. Really being able to lean in to truly get fed, like being a student, learning, being around other people who are on that same journey, maybe not in the exact same spot, but they're in that journey of learning and growing. Like that is super, super important. A lot of us isolate, right? I talked about this in the very beginning. The hopelessness is like on the rise. Like people are just feeling so hopeless and it's bleak and they're weary. I've had moments a lot this year actually of weariness. And I just kept like, I've never felt that before. And it was just so heavy. And then I was like, okay, we got to get out of this. We got to snap out. Like, where is this coming from? And is it truth? Sure, things can get heavy, but what you focus on grows. So being in these different pieces of community, they all have a different purpose, are so important, especially inside of a mentorship community where you can learn and grow, to have an opportunity for a perspective shift, for somebody to speak into you, to be able to learn something new, grow in a skill set. Like sharpen your sword, right? Iron sharpens iron. So that is super important. And a lot of us, I've known in the coaching space or entrepreneurial space, like we get it like very protective of like, oh, I know it. I don't need to learn from other people. Or if we do learn, we don't attribute it and we don't share it. And then people are like, how did you get to where you are? Oh, just like a lot of hard work. Like share what you're learning, where you're learning it from, lead people back to the source in which you found it, right? Steward that piece. Part of stewarding the communities that you're in is also taking note, like, what is it giving to you? What are you giving to it? What does it truly mean, like to you and for them? Like really digging in deep, because at the end of the day, if we had an abundance of time, we had an abundance of money, didn't have to necessarily like work, and we had things in, what would we do? Most of us want to spend time with people that we love. Most of us want to explore and just enjoy the hidden treasures or the treasures of life, like locations and traveling and different things. Like we want to spend time with other people. And so often we get caught up on the mechanics of like, I got to be able to grow and do these things in order to get there. And the there can still happen now. What do I mean? That when I get there, I can spend time with these people. When I get there, we can have these conversations. When I get there, we can do these things. Have you ever looked at the word there? In the word there is here. You are here right now. What can you do right now? Stop waiting till you get there and focus on what you can do here. The word here is right smack in the middle of the word there. But we put that T on the front of it and we're waiting to get to that T. We're waiting to get there when you can focus on what's right here. Think about it. The word is here. The word here is in the word there. Does that make sense to anybody? I remember when I first heard that, I was like mind blown. I think I heard it from Michael Todd, Transformation Church. And I was like, that was good. That was really good because I personally have focused so much on, I can't wait till I get there so I can do X, Y, and Z. When I can still, to a degree, do the things that I would like to do, spending time with people, diving in, really getting to know them, being there for people. I can still do that right here, right now. I don't have to wait until I get there. So part of stewarding the communities that you're in is understanding, yes, we're aspiring for more. Yes, we want to be able to create and do more things. But what are you doing with the here, the now, the present moment? How are you getting filled and how are you filling others? A lot of people take advantage of take for granted the community that they're in. It's always going to be there. I'm just going to wait for the next thing. I'll learn this next thing. Instead of maybe even asking the question, Lord, how should I steward this? What should I lean into? Who should I lean into? Who should lean into me? How should I be open to be able to receive? Because I don't know about you, I love giving. It's taken me a lot longer to learn how to receive. A lot longer. So I hope you're hearing what I'm saying. This one's going to be a little bit shorter today because I feel like that was a lot of meat in a short amount of time. So feel free to go back, listen, share in the comments, type #replay if you're watching the replay. Share something of what you're learning and really focus on the different communities that you're in. How can you be present in the here and the now with them so you can really steward those communities and what they're designed to do in your life? So I hope this has been valuable. I hope you guys all have an amazing Saturday, an amazing weekend, and we will see you on day 21.